right.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kate Genser. I am on the marketing team here at LHH and will be helping to support the conversation today. Thank you so much for joining. This is the first in a four-part series entitled Empowering Growth, HR as a Catalyst for Employee Development. And today, specifically, we're talking about what is career activism. A few housekeeping items before we begin. All lines are on mute and will remain on mute for the duration. But we have budgeted a little time for questions. So if you have questions as we're going along, please submit them into the Q&A box. The session is being recorded, so we will send the replay and any slides that we present to anyone who registered at the end of the session. And as I mentioned, this is a series, so just to streamline the process for you all, you do not have to register for the additional sessions. You are already registered and the system should send you a reminder as it gets closer. So without further ado, let me hand it over to my colleague, Melanie, to get us started.
Thank you so much, Kate, and thank you so much for joining today. I hope you're going to enjoy this hour. I am Melanie Stave. I am the North American Career Development and Practice Leader, and pleasantly joined today by Delise. Delise, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Melanie. Delise Lindsay. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia, and I am a senior career and executive coach and facilitator, and I have been doing this work for well over 20 years.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Delise. And with that, let's jump in, and always like starting with a couple of questions. So we have a poll activity here for all of you. Let me read this out, and then we can start doing the answers. What percent of employees would stay at a company longer if it invested in their career development? Lots of fast responses. This is wonderful.
You think we have a highly engaged audience?
Yes, I would say that. I would say that. Fantastic. Okay, so we've got, looks like poll has stopped. 79% was the winner. We've got 66% at the 79% choice. Then we have 18% at 94%, 15% at 40, and only 1% at 23. So the correct answer, 94%. So let's just think about that for 1 minute. If companies invested in career development, and with invested, I'm not just talking about offering online library of training courses, but really talking about messaging from the top on how important career development is and that it is encouraged by leadership, highlighting examples on what career development looks like within your organization, providing guidance to help employees reflect on themselves so they can determine what they might want to do next in the company or how they become more skilled in their current role, engaging managers so they're part of that conversation and supportive of their employees' growth, and how this all really holistically connects back to internal mobility and future role planning. Let's do one more. What percent of employees are interested in changing roles internally, but do not know how to do so? Thank you, Kate. Great, super fast responses. Seeing a trend happening here with the responses. All right, thank you, Kate. So we have 50% of the answers at 67%, 30% who guessed 42, 18% who guessed 30, and 1% who guessed 12. So with that, The answer is 42%. So that's almost 50% of employees. So if you think back to our last poll on how most employees would stay longer at a company if they invested in their career development, this really shows that employees truly want to stay at their company, develop themselves, and grow their careers. Really good foundation for what we're going to talk about next. Before we jump into the heart of the session with Delise, here's just an overview of our series and what's coming next. Hope to see you in each of them. And thank you, Kate, for setting that up so smoothly. So everybody's already registered. That is fantastic. And quick note, for those of you on the call who are HR leaders, these webinars can help you from two lenses. One, envisioning how your employee development could look and feel within your organization. And then also your own guidance for your own development. So it's nice to look at it from both angles on that. And with that, I'm pleased to turn our conversation over to Delise.
Thank you, Melanie. Well, you've just seen some compelling data on how important it is for organizations to provide resources and tools so employees can create that career path, as well as how important it is for individuals to take ownership of their career. So let's look at kind of what some things that we probably hear every day. So take a look at these quotes and what actually sounds familiar to you. Take a second. What we really find is that people really don't know where to start. They would love to manage their career and have that career path and create those short and long-term career goals. But what we find is they really don't know where to start. I'm engaged in multiple career development coaching sessions every day of every week from multiple organizations, and there's a pattern and there's a theme when I start these coaching sessions. And most of them say, I would like to achieve this in my career, but I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to partner with my manager on this. And I don't even know what resources are available to me through our organization. So this is kind of the key to our whole being as it relates to our careers from a holistic standpoint. So think about what drives life satisfaction. Okay. So we spend close to 90,000, or will spend close to 90,000 hours at work in our lifetime. That's a third of our life. But when we conduct research with over 27,000 employees across 37 countries globally, look at these statistics on what brings life satisfaction. 36% mental health, 25% career satisfaction, and 39% others. And that's family, hobbies, whatever we do basically outside of work. And of course, we know mental health is important because that just kind of is the core for everything that we do, is having that healthy base. But look at the difference, or just how close. 25% career satisfaction brings us total life satisfaction. And I like to chunk it down to even a day. Think about your day. You spend 8+ hours at work, and then you go home in the evening, and you might spend 2, maybe 3 hours with your family. Then you go to bed and you get up and you do it all over again. So our careers are really important to our quality of life. And what I've experienced in myself and coaching others is when there is a misalignment with our career, if it doesn't fit, it will impact our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health, and our relational health. So it is just so key and critical to the entire quality of our life.
All right. Question, building on that. When do you usually find yourself thinking about your career? And if you can, just submit your answers in the Q&A box. Very curious to see.
Reflecting at work. In the car or train commuting.
Oh, when something is going wrong.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah. Isn't it
After-
interesting, Melody? Look at this,
Yeah.
outside of work hours.
Yep. When stressed, when most stressed, when walking my dog, after frustrating internal conversations with superiors or colleagues, when things are going bad, when I feel stuck. Mhm.
Mhm.
Oh, at a life event or inflection point,
Oh.
when I'm feeling stagnant or complacent.
Mhm.
Lots of comments on stress. Oh no, 2 a.m. lying in bed. That
Ah.
is never good. That is never good. Guilty
Never
of that,
good.
but never good. Yeah, never good.
Yeah, I've got
Very
a
good.
story that I'm going to tell later in this position or presentation about a 4 a.m. wake up when there was a misalignment in my career. So I can relate to that.
Very good. Oh,
But
when I feel inspired. That was one good one I wanted to throw
one.
in there too. That was good. Very, very good. Sorry,
Yeah.
Delise, go ahead.
No, that's okay. This thing's like, well, we're seeing a theme here. And kind of that theme is that when we think about our careers, it's generally in a reactive mode, or when things aren't going well, or what's really interesting in that theme is outside of work. So we're not even thinking about our careers in our 9 to 5 work day. We're thinking about them in our personal lives when things aren't going well. So I think that's really a fascinating observation from all of you. And thank you so much for sharing, because your examples are feeding right in to the kind of key points of our presentation today.
Right.
Yep, there we go. There's that middle of the night again.
Exactly. Exactly.
Seems to be a theme here. So we're going to bring some more research to you. This is actually from Gail Matthews. She's an expert in goal setting. She's written research papers that have been published, and this is where we've pulled these statistics. And it's really basically around the importance of setting career goals. So what we know through her research is that 83% of people have no goals. No goals. It's over 3/4, no goals. And then only 14% have their career goals floating around in their head. And I always say that's a great intention, but 9 times out of 10, it's never going to happen if it's just floating around in your head. But look at the difference here. When you write them down, only 3% do that. Now look at the correlation with success in your careers. So those that don't have any goals, it's kind of a haphazard, kind of a Russian roulette there, whether you gain your achieve your goals or not. But look at how that correlation goes up. When you at least think about the goals, when it is top of mind, you have a 10 times more likelihood of achieving success in your career. But look at this jump. When you write down your goals, when you have a plan, you have a 30 times more likelihood of achieving your career goals. So kind of the question is, why don't we take the time? Why don't we focus on writing our career goals down and having an active plan? Make a huge difference in the quality of our life satisfaction. So there's another correlation I'd like to bring to your attention, and it's the correlation of how clear are you on your career goals as opposed to how close you are to achieving that career goal. And think about yourself and whatever your career aspirations may be today. And if you were to plot an X on this axis, where would your X fall as it relates to your level of clarity and how close are you to achieving that goal? And there's an example of a coaching situation that I had really just a couple weeks ago. And I was coaching a young lady from a bank. And we were talking about her career goals. And she said she wanted to work for SpaceX. And I'm thinking, oh, this is kind of pie in the sky. She's just playing with me. So, so I said, so what have you done toward achieving that goal? She actually had some tangible steps. She had already started researching open positions, what qualifications were needed, experience. And so she actually surprised me. She had a goal that was completely a career shift for her, out of the norm, but something she was really passionate and excited about. She had actually taken steps. So her X on this axis would have been pretty close to the top. Obviously, she had a few more things, activities to do, but she was working her way there and she was working her plan. So another reflective moment for you. Ponder this after this session, just to see how close you are and how clear you are to achieving your goals. Now, there's a framework, there's a roadmap to taking control of your career, creating that roadmap so that you can put together a plan and achieve your career aspirations or your career goals. And there's basically 5 P's that we're going to take a look at today in the remainder of our session.
All right, with that, let's do another quick question here. Let's just see. Name some people who have had amazing careers. Can be anyone, famous, not famous, business people, musicians, whoever. Don't need to explain why, just a name. So if you can drop that in the Q&A box, that would be great.
Oprah Winfrey, Michelle Obama. There goes Oprah again. Oprah. She seems to be top of mind today. Someone's boss. Yeah.
Oh, Mark Cuban, Jack Welch.
Yeah. I
Sheryl
love Shark
Crow.
Tank. One of my favorite shows on Friday night.
Oh, Taylor Swift. I was assuming she'd show up somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Couple of times.
Yeah. Obviously, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. Previous director, someone you actually know. There's Oprah again.
Oh, Jane Goodall. Oh, wonderful.
I love to see these. Look at this from Maria. I think my career has been amazing. I love that.
Really nice. Really nice.
Yes. Tony Robbins. Wow. Tom Brady, the GOAT, greatest of all
Yes.
times. This is so interesting. I love it. You know, as you look at the list that you all created of who has had amazing careers from your lens, from your perspective, they're all different. If you think about those different individuals, the Taylor Swifts, the Oprahs, the Beyoncés, the Maria, your boss, you all came from a different place. They all came from a different place. And what drives amazing careers is really what you hold near and dear to your heart. What are your values? What are your core beliefs? And when you live out your values and when you live out your core beliefs, you have amazing careers. And I can say I've had one of those amazing careers. Maria, I'm right there with you. I've had an opportunity to do a lot and to do an impact to a lot of people and just high level. I've been a downtown merchant. I had a storefront at one point. I worked at Indiana State University and I placed students, liberal arts students in internship and co-op positions. I've been a recruiter for one of the largest banks on the eastern half of the United States in Charlotte. And then I came to this business and I've been here. And I'm going to tell you another story a little bit later about when I left for a year and that experience. But my personal mission and my belief and my values are I need to be making a difference in somebody else in somebody's life, or I need to be doing something else somewhere else. And the work that I've done through my career has just been amazing. And I feel really fulfilled today. So it's different and it's unique for each one of you. So here's our roadmap. Here's each station, each stop in our roadmap, what we call the 5 Ps, or the 5 practices of career focus. The first one is person. It's all about you. What makes you unique? What are your core values? Where are your passions? Where are your interests, your personality, your approach, how you see the world? Then what is about performance? The next piece is performance. We talk a lot about your network. We talk about your accomplishments, your skills, your transferable skills, your reputation. And the third P is around place. This is really important to today's fast evolving corporate environment, is understanding the changes in your industry, understanding the changes within your organization or your functional area. And what do you need to do to be prepared? How do you upskill yourself to be prepared for the needs of your industry and your organization a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now? And then the possibilities. So there are lots of options out there. We're going to talk about 6 options here in a minute, and what's best for you. And then finally, pulling it all together, just like Melanie and I've been talking about, setting that business case through data on how important it is to have goals and a plan to achieve your career objectives. So I'd like to hear from you again. As you've heard me to describe each one of the 5 Ps, where are you? Where is your primary focus today? Ah, boy, it's pretty evenly. Okay, it was even. Now
Okay, it was.
now, it was
now
even.
It's
Oh, it's interesting. It's kind of all over, spread across the 5 Ps. Pretty evenly spread, very close.
Wow.
Almost neck and neck. But I think possibilities is actually going to be our primary area of focus, Melanie, with our participants here today. Assessing the possibilities. What are my options? And then a close second is understanding what makes you unique. And right close to that is performance, your reputation. This is really going to be interesting. I think we've got a lot of valuable information to share today, Melanie, that's really going to make a difference to our audience and in our future presentations as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's focus on person first. What makes you unique? So when we think about what makes you unique, we think about what are your interests? What do you enjoy doing? What are you good at? What are your strengths? What drains you? We all have those aspects of our roles and responsibilities that we have to do because it's the nature of our job, but it's not what we really want to do. So we really want to be aware that that's not the primary aspect of our role. And then we look at cultural fit. And with cultural fit, that has to align with your values and your core beliefs. And we know, and that aligns to a culture, an overarching culture to an organization, because that culture is that organization's values and their core beliefs. And then every team, every line of business has a subculture. And that subculture is usually set by the leader within that organization.
Mhm.
So that's kind of what makes you unique, understanding that. And with that, when I'm in coaching conversations and in a lot of the coaching work that we do through the workshops, that's the first place we start is helping employees understand, what do they enjoy doing? What are they good at? What do they need in a cultural fit? And when all three of those intersect, that's your sweet spot. Then you're operating out of your sweet spot. And when you operate out of your sweet spot, we're going back to what we talked about previously, you're going to have a higher life satisfaction when your career fits, when your role fits. And if we look at the next P, oh, it was a build slide. Yeah. So we talked about your style, your approach. So we've kind of already talked about that. And you know what it's your approach and your style is basically your personality. And it's driven by your life experience. And so your approach to work can change as you go throughout your career. Many times when you're first starting your career, it's all about working up that corporate ladder. It's about salary. But then that shifts and that changes as our life experience changes. And we want to look at that career journey path. We ask you to reflect, and this is going to be a take-home activity, and we really encourage to follow through. But we want you to think about and reflect over your entire career and kind of put it on a continuum with a midpoint line. And those aspects of your career that were fulfilling and rewarding, put those above that continuum, that line. Those that drained you, like we were talking about a second ago, those go below your line. And then I want you to kind of dissect. So for instance, it says something that was a high point for this individual was when they took on a challenging project. Well, what made that challenging? Maybe it was innovation, creation, opportunity to work with new people, to make a difference in the business. So that's what you want to become aware of and make sure that you replicate that going forward in your career, because that's what satisfies you. Those things below that line, those are the things that you want to make sure that you stay away from, because those drain you. And so that's how we go about using the career journey map in identifying what's important to us. So let's look at the second P, the performance P, shaping our reputation. We're just kind of high level talk about this one today, because we're going to do a deeper dive in this in our session next week. But we want to take a look at, so what is the risk of not managing your reputation? And when we talk about reputation, I always define it as, so how would people describe you? If you weren't in the room, how would people describe you? How do they perceive you? It's your brand. And you can proactively manage that brand, because it could be career limiting if you fall into the trap of being perceived in a way that you don't want to be perceived. So we talk about reputation, how to proactively manage that reputation through your network, through your capabilities, and being able to communicate those capabilities. So again, we're going to talk just a little bit more about that later. So we're not going to spend a lot of time on it today, but it is very important to your career journey. We will spend some time, because I'm really passionate about the place. And this is exciting, and you can't ignore this piece of your career journey roadmap. It's understanding what is changing in your world of work and how are you going to adapt your skills, your knowledge, your experience to be marketable and valuable as the marketplace changes. And so let's take a look at some Adecco Global research. Think about this. 65% of children in primary school today will end up in jobs that don't even exist today. How about that, Melanie?
Wow.
Isn't that yeah.
Shocking.
Yeah, it is shocking. AI just keeps coming up, just as I'm going through this presentation, AI just keeps coming to the forefront of my mind. And then 66% of workers believe they need to train and gain new skills in the years ahead. So that's good. We want that. And we just want them to take action on it. And 62% of workers are considering taking new qualification or gaining new skills. Again, this is the purpose of having a development plan, because remember those statistics we looked at a little earlier. If you make a plan, you're more likely to achieve it and have a higher likelihood of success in your career. So the World Economic Forum has done some research, and this is very, very fresh from 2023. And these are the top 10 skills on the rise today. And if you look, they've been categorized into cognitive skills, self-efficacy skills, technical, team, or working with others, but there aren't any noted here, and then engagement skills. So look at this: creative thinking, analytical thinking, systems thinking. How important, and that's not, if you remember one of the little tabs that was up in the beginning of this presentation on a slide, that a misconception is people think that only technical skills are going to help them advance in their career. This debunks that as a myth. I mean, it is really holistic skills. Technical literacy is there, but look at the curiosity and lifelong learning, that resilience and flexibility and agility. There's AI, it's there. But that motivation and self-awareness, that aligns with knowing who you are, what makes you unique, what your passion is, your interest is, that self-awareness piece, asking for feedback, knowing where you might have some blinders, and proactively managing your growth and development so that you stay marketable and valuable in today's world of work. And these skills are only needed for the next, 4 years, 2023 to 2027. That's only 4 years. Where are we going to go beyond that? So you can see how important it is to stay abreast of the changing working landscape. So now we'd like to hear from you. Again, this is going to be interesting, Melanie. I can't wait. We've got a poll. How do you stay abreast of current trends? There we go. LinkedIn. 100%. Why doesn't that surprise me?
I know.
We're
It's
all
a great place.
Yeah. Well, still out in front. Still out in front. I'm going to check.
Ooh, somebody chose their manager. That's good.
Yes.
That's a good manager.
Yeah. I'm checking the Q&A. This is interesting. Consulting firms, thought papers. I love it, Joshua. You joined the LHH webinar. Webinars. Oh, Harvard Business Review. I always recommend that.
Mhm.
Someone put from
Very nice.
Vendor presentations. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Industry daily newsletters. And when I'm coaching my clients and we talk about staying abreast, and sometimes they'll ask, well, what books should I read? And I always kind of refrain from referencing books because they're generally outdated by the day they're published. So stay with the social media, stay with the consulting firms and the anything that is producing research-based suggestions, recommendations, themes, and trends, because the more likely those are going to be current. All right. I love it.
There we go.
Can't stay away from LinkedIn.
No.
So this is another tip that I'm going to put in there. So if you haven't, you need to update your LinkedIn profile, because that always is included in a career development strategy, because we'll talk a little bit more about that in networking and in building your reputation and your brand. But that is critical in today's market, making sure that's updated. So now we're going to look at the fourth P in the career focus plan, and that is possibilities. And I think most of you, when we did the poll earlier, that was that was where most of you are really is your focus right now, or the majority of you. So typically, we've thought that this vertical movement, this vertical mobility is the prime mobility. That's the only way to grow, is to move up, to get a promotion, and to kind of sit there, do a great job, and hope that somebody will tap us on the shoulder and tell us it's time to move to the next level. But in today's world of work, our corporations are structured more from what we call the rock climbing wall or the lattice work. So I'm seeing a lot of my career coaching clients opting for lateral moves. They're with the broad scope and landscape of today's corporate organizations globally or even domestically in North America. They are so large that there is opportunity to grow and develop and learn, add value, add impact in lateral moves, moving across the organization. I'm also finding a lot of my career clients opt for enrichment. And by enrichment, we mean staying in your current role and growing and developing there. And many times when I start a coaching conversation with a client, they think they want to move. They think they want a vertical move. Then we start talking about what they enjoy doing, remember what the culture, what they're good at. And they start to get some clarity that, you know what? I'm really in a pretty good place right now. So then they opt for enrichment, and then we talk about, so what skills, what knowledge, what experience might you develop so that you can be the best version of yourself in your current role? And then we look at what skills, what knowledge, what experience might you glean to be prepared for the future. Very rewarding option. Exploration, another option. And by that, you stay in your current role, but you opt for experiencing or exploring other areas. And you can do that through job shadowing. You can do it through a stretch assignment, a project, taking an interim role. So lots of ways to explore. There's even one kind of creative, and this is kind of also directed for managers out there, is for managers to direct or delegate some of your roles and responsibilities to your employees, kind of take some things off of your plate so that you can be more strategic focused. But it also allows you to give the employee an opportunity to explore and experience some new roles and responsibilities to help them grow. So it's kind of a win-win. And the realignment, we're seeing more and more people opt for realignment. And by realignment, they are making a conscious choice to step back, to take maybe a lesser salary, a lesser responsibility, so that they can have a better quality of life satisfaction. A lot of this kind of aligns with the stage that they are in their career, elderly parents or young children. they're tired of being on a plane all the time and missing birthdays and ball games. And so they opt to realign. And then relocation. And sometimes that is the best option. My coaching client that wants to go to SpaceX, wants to leave banking, make that total career change, she's probably going to relocate eventually. But so just know that it's not only a vertical, that you have lots of options in your career possibilities. Here, I just want to kind of caution you a little bit around LinkedIn. We've already talked about how a lot of you are on LinkedIn, and that's where you get kind of your updates on what's changing in the world of work in different ways. But there's also kind of a risk. And when others are what we call humble bragging, when they talk about what they've accomplished and that award that they've won, and they post those pictures of going on this beautiful vacation, and they've got this new certification, just keep in mind that every career journey is unique, and it's unique for you and what's important to you based on your life satisfaction and what's important to your core, your values, and your beliefs. Now, here's kind of more self-reflection. This is kind of where the rubber meets the road, so to speak. We want you to start asking your own questions to help give you clarity on what you need in your career to have life satisfaction, so that you can move closer to your career aspiration and achieve your career goals. So one of the first questions we're going to encourage you to ask yourself is, well, I guess it's more of a statement. A thing I'd like to be known at work as, and this helps build that reputation. Get clear on what you want your branding to be, what you want your reputation to be, so you can start to proactively manage it. That's where we recommend you get some feedback. I spend most of my day, and fill in the blank. How do you spend most of your day? It should be something you enjoy doing. If it's something that drains you, that might be a little bit of a red flag. The people I work with are, okay, fill in the blank. They should be like-minded, share your values, share your level of energy, vitality, integrity. The things I do less of. So what do you want to do less of? And look, are there options to have a conversation with your manager to do less of something and do more of something else? And then I know I've had a good day when. What satisfies you? What brings joy? When I'm on a coaching call and we're wrapping up, and one of the last questions I ask is, so have we accomplished what you needed to accomplish in our session here today? And they say, oh, yeah. And then I ask them to take, oh, I'm going to take this away. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. That's a reward for me. And I know it's been a good day when I've made a difference in somebody else's life. So what is that for you? And then think about the end of the week. How would you fill out that block? Are you drained? Can't wait for Saturday? Can't wait? Or are you anticipating Monday morning? One little break, want to be with the family, but I can't wait to get back at it on Monday morning. Or are you dreading the work that you're going to have to do over the weekend because you didn't get it all done in the week? That's another red flag. So this is a way to start getting that foundation, getting some clarity so that you can build some actions into your plan to help you achieve your career goals. And finally, the last P in our roadmap, the last practice, is plan, which has kind of been a theme ever since the start of our presentation today, is developing that action plan and how important that is. And I want to keep in mind that when we're going to kind of wrap up where we started, is if you have a plan, if you at least, at minimum, have some thoughts in your head, you have a 10 times more likelihood of achieving your career success and your career goals. But if you write them down, you've got a 30 times likelihood of achieving your career objectives and your career goals. So what we encourage you to do, and our recommendation, is to schedule a specific career development conversation with your manager. Bring to them your plan. Bring to them what you enjoy doing, what you're good at, what cultural aspects do you need, what brings you fulfillment, and partner with your manager on creating a role, whether it's your current role or a future role, that would bring you the highest level of life satisfaction. Do that for yourself. You have to own it. You're the only one that can make this happen. Your manager can't. Nobody else can do this for you but you, so that you can have higher career success and a more rewarding life satisfaction overall. I want to thank you. That completes our content for today. This has been fun. I really enjoyed the interaction. I've enjoyed the polls and the Q&A chats to actually hear where your thoughts are on this topic. So that's been rewarding and fun for me. And it's been my pleasure. Thank you. Melanie, you close
Thank
this
you.
out.
Thank you so much, Delise. That was wonderful and insightful information. Truly appreciate you bringing that to us. Just a reminder for everybody on here, our next session is same time next Thursday, April 4th, Making Your Network Work for You. Hope to see you with that. And with that, I'm actually going to stop sharing so we can take a look to see if there are any questions in the chat. So Kate, if you want to bring that up too, that would be very helpful.
Yes, thank you everybody for participating. One question that came up was if we've noticed any generational differences. That this is specifically about the LinkedIn kind of humble bragging, but I think speaks to a larger point of, do we see any generational differences in career management throughout, like the way young people are handling it versus more tenured folks? And then are they bragging about it on LinkedIn?
Would you like to take that, Delise?
Now, I've got my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I have to say that probably, excuse me, the highest percentage of career development coaching conversations I have are with the younger generation. I think they are taking more time and owning their career. They realize how important it is. I think the older generation kind of they worked hard. They only saw that vertical option available to them, and many of them just waited to be tapped on the shoulder. But this new generation is much more active and owning. I don't know, Melanie, I'd be interested to get your observation.
Yeah, absolutely agree on that. And I also think there's a little bit of a difference of that being humble. I do see that in the newer generation that's coming through. They're proud of themselves, period. And they are going to tell you. And
Yeah.
they're going to tell you what they want next and how they want to do it and how to move on. And I think that's great because they know what they want. It's not waiting for somebody to tell them or somebody to give advice. They should listen, which is also good. But I just feel it's more open and direct for them versus the more tenured population that have been brought up in a different conversation or a different growth pattern, and they see how things worked in their companies that they were. So I do see a little bit of a difference there too. Over there too.
If somebody wanted to find a career coach for themselves, how would you recommend getting started? Finding that person. engaging them?
Melanie, I'll let you take that one.
I think it's a very unique question. If this is something from a perspective of individual, just you personally want to go out there and find a coach, I do know there are many boutique coaching firms that just focus on individuals. You can find a coach online. All of our coaches, Delise, for example, one of our key talents here, a lot of them have their own businesses as well, which is amazing. So they can continue to work with us, but also their own clients. If this is more a holistic conversation from an organizational perspective, we do many engagements with our clients that focus on career coaching. So the customers, our customers and clients, actually open that up to their employees. Some complete companies, thousands and thousands of people. Other companies look at more targeted populations. So it's both available from both of those angles that I'd say. Anything you'd like to add, Delise?
No, I don't think so. Not on that one. No.
Perfect.
Well, I think that's it. Unless other people want to submit, I think everything was pretty clear.
Wonderful. Thank you all so much. Truly hope this was helpful for you and you learned something new today. And with that, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful holiday weekend. And we will see you next Thursday. Thank you so much.
Okay. Bye-bye.